My name is Jeremy, and today we're going to brew all grain batch beer and see how it's done. This is a pretty simple more beer grain grinder, very inexpensive. More Beer's pretty good website, pretty good company. It's got a bucket of grains and just a cheap Craftsman drill sitting on a stool, and this is grinding grains. We've got our hot liquor tank with about 165 degree water. So we are then going to add to our dry grains that we just ground, and we'll mash that in. So we've got all the mash water here in the cooler, and we're going to take the mash paddle, just stir it up, and what we want to do is get rid of any dry pockets of grains, also called dough balls, because they get really sticky. You see the holes drilled in the paddle, how that's kind of chewing through that and breaking it all up. And we'll stir this until everything is good and wet, and then we'll take a temperature. So we got everything pretty well incorporated, and we'll take a temperature. And what we're looking for is about a 150 to 155. Looks like we might go past that a little bit. Looks like we're going to head towards 160. That's actually great. It's like 157. If that were to be too high, you can add some cool water to it, just to about a quart or so. If it's too low, you can heat up some hot, almost boiling water and add to it and try to bring that temp up. We're actually going to hit about 160. I'm going to go ahead and leave it though, because that's pretty good. And we'll start our timer for 1 hour and let it rest. So a couple times during the mash, so we're about half an hour into it, I'll open the lid just to give it a quick stir, make sure we're not getting any hot pockets or cold pockets of water, and make sure there's no dough balls that we missed during the initial. You can kind of see the water itself start to take on kind of a brown hue, and we'll let it sit for the rest of the time, and then we'll start sparging. So this is my simple kind of 3-tier brew system. It's made out of an old piece of furniture, old cooler I found on the side of the road, some old turkey fryer burners, a couple kettles that I had, or bought for this purpose. It's your hot liquor tank. You can do our sparge water and mash water heat in that. And a control valve so we can control the speed of the water flowing out. This is our mash tun, and we are now sparging, kind of a dark IPA. So we got a little piece of top of a piece of Tupperware there to disperse the water on the grain bed. There's a stainless steel braid in the bottom of this to separate the grains from the wort. Another control valve to control the speed, and then straight into the boil kettle. That's pretty much the whole sparging process on this 3-tier, and we'll be doing the boil next. So we've finished the sparging process. Got all the wort in the kettle here. Looks like we probably got about maybe 7.5 gallons, and we have just achieved a full boil. So we're going to go ahead and add our bittering hops and begin our timer for 1 hour. And this is what's nice about having a 15-gallon kettle to do 5 to 7 gallon batches in, is you see how much foam we're getting because of the hops being added and all that surface area. If you were to do this in a 6-gallon kettle, you would have just had a big mess. And we're going to knock the foam down, and we'll let that boil until time to add the flavoring hops. Alright, so we've been boiling for about 30 minutes. Still got a nice brown color in there. And we're going to add our flavor hops at the 30-minute mark. It's going to give a lot of hop flavor to the beer. So we'll just sprinkle those in. And boil will kind of take off a little bit and then calm back down. So we're going to let that go for about another 15 minutes. Then we're going to add some kind of aromatic hops towards the end of the boil to give it a good aroma when it's in the glass. Right, so we got about 15 minutes left on the boil. I'm going to add some kind of aroma and some flavoring hops. Going to add some flavor and a little bit of aroma because the time it's put in 15 minutes till the end. So we're going to drop it in our wort chiller. And you got to be careful with this because it will boil and blow steam out of the end of those tubes when it gets nice and hot. And back in 15 minutes to do the chilling process. Alright, so our 1 hour boil period is up. We got the chillers in there for 15 minutes to kind of sterilize the copper. And we're going to add an ounce of whole leaf Cascade hops. And this is going to add some nice aroma to the boil, to the beer once it's all said and done. So we'll take that and kind of stir it in a little bit. And then we're going to start the chilling process to get it down to fermentation temperatures. So we're now chilling our brew. This is kind of danger zone. Plus there's a thunderstorm rolling in. Once you get on the cool side of beer, it's when bacteria and stuff can get in it and start having problems with infections and things like that. So now once it starts getting down below like 180, 190 degrees, it's really time to keep it nice and clean. So we'll put a lid on this and monitor the temperature and then be ready to put it in the fermenter.
We've got it down to about 80 degrees during the chilling process. And now we're going to go ahead and remove the chiller out of it and take it over and get it in the fermenter. Just going to take this out of here. And again, this is the cool side, so you have to be really careful about anything falling down in there. Using dirty spoons. Like, I'm not going to put that lid back on there because it might possibly infect it. So here we're going to transfer it over into the fermenter. It's pretty crude, just a pouring funnel. It's been soaked in star sand. And then the tube that goes down inside there is actually an aquarium pump with a HEPA filter on it that will aerate the wort, which will make for faster yeast uptake. Plus, the tube being in there creates an air gap to keep from having a vapor lock when you pour the wort into the fermenter. Alright, so we got everything transferred into the fermenter. Mess this time, had a clog with some whole hops, but no big deal. Got a little bit over 5 gallons, and we've still got the aerator going in there for a little while. Right now we're sitting at about 78, 79 degrees. So we want to let it cool down just a little bit before we add the yeast, but not much. So we'll let it go for about 15-20 minutes with the aeration, add the yeast, and then add the airlock on top. And it'll be ready to go away. Alright, so we've got the aerator still going in here. The temperature has gone down just a little bit, and we're getting about to push out of foam. So we're going to go ahead and pull the aerator out of it and add some liquid yeast to it. So this is a vial of White Labs liquid yeast. We're just going to dump it straight in. Usually I would make a starter, but this brew was kind of last minute. So we're just going to take the starter and add it right into the brew after shaking it up and making sure everything was in suspension and letting it come up to room temperature. You always want to get those big glugs in there because that's actually where the yeast is in this thick solid part. So once we've pitched all the yeast in it, we're going to take an airlock, just filled with star sand, which is a sanitizer. It's what all the bubbles are from. And we'll just stick it in there, and then we'll go park it away for a couple weeks. So here are the 2 brews that I did today while showing you guys about all grain brewing. And we'll keep them in here for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. They both look pretty dark right now, but they'll change a little bit. Then we'll put them on the kegerator and put some CO2 on them and enjoy. Thanks for watching.